The twin moons of Varkal hung over the arena like pale watchers as the warrior princess strode into the training grounds. Her name was Riala, famed across her empire as an undefeated champion. Her armor shimmered with interlocking plates of violet alloy. Her tall frame moved with a blend of precision and confidence that had become her trademark in every conflict she had faced. Behind her walked guards who held their weapons close, though everyone knew she never needed them. Riala had built her reputation through countless bouts where opponents fell within minutes. Every soldier who entered her presence understood the same truth. If she challenged someone, that someone would fall. On this day, she expected another routine demonstration. Her empire had recently encountered an unfamiliar species. Humans. The first diplomatic exchanges had been tense. Human vessels had appeared along the empire's borders. The humans were smaller than most known species. Their bodies seemed fragile compared to the towering warriors of Varkal. Yet their eyes held a resilience that confused some imperial leaders. A few thought the humans brought hidden technology. Others believed it was all posturing. For Riala, it did not matter. She followed one rule. Every unknown strength was measured through direct challenge. At the far side of the arena, the human envoy stood near the entrance gate. His name was Dane. He wore simple reinforced cloth and light armor. He carried no blade. He held no shield. He had been told he would meet the princess for a diplomatic show of skill. He understood the weight of the meeting. He also understood the expectations placed upon him by his people. Humans were new in this region of space. To establish peaceful trade or cooperation, they needed to earn respect. On many worlds, respect came only through strength. Bane had been selected for this reason. Among his people, he was known for quick reflexes and calm focus in crisis. He did not claim to be the strongest. He did not crave glory. Yet he carried a quiet certainty, and that certainty had drawn attention. The arena's wide expanse glowed with embedded crystal lines. These lines pulsed with faint blue energy, designed to absorb impacts and protect spectators. The stands were filled with onlookers from various worlds under the Empire's rule. They murmured as they saw the human approach. Many whispered doubts. Some laughed openly. They all expected the same result. A swift defeat. Riala's voice cut through the air like a blade. She stepped forward and pointed at Thane. Her tone carried no malice. It carried the absolute assurance of someone who had never lost. You can't last a minute against me, human. The crowd roared. To them it felt like truth carved in stone. Thane took a slow breath. He did not raise his voice. He simply answered with composed clarity. Time will reveal what is true. Riala noted his calm nature. Something about him differed from opponents she had seen before. Yet she brushed the thought aside. She had trained since childhood. Her strength was not only physical. It was the result of discipline, study, and countless trials. She looked at the human and assumed he relied on courage alone. She prepared to teach him the difference between courage and capability. A ceremonial gong sounded. The guards stepped back. The energy field surrounding the arena intensified. Dane and Riala now stood alone under the pale moons. Riala moved first. Her movement was swift. She swung her arm in an arc, meant to test the human's reaction. Dane sidestepped, keeping his posture relaxed. It surprised her. She expected hesitation. Instead, he moved with precision. She increased her speed. Her next strike came from a different angle. Again, Dane evaded. Not by luck. Not by retreat. He stepped just where he needed to be, no more and no less. Riala narrowed her eyes. She attacked again. Each movement carefully calculated. Dane dodged with the same calm rhythm. The spectators leaned forward. They expected the human to fall instantly. Instead, he remained on his feet, Riala pressed harder. She spun, sweeping her arm toward his midsection. Dane jumped back. Dust rose from the floor where her strike landed. The impact sent a dull vibration across the arena. If it had struck the human directly, the match would have ended at once. Dane stared at her with steady focus. He still did not strike back. This confused her more. Most challengers tried to attack her early. They believed aggression would increase their chances. All failed. Yet this human refused to be baited. He spent the first seconds reading her movements. It irritated her. It also intrigued her. She switched tactics. Instead of direct strikes, she moved to test his balance. She lunged, swung low, pivoted, and forced him to shift weight. Dane adapted each time. A few times he stumbled slightly, yet he recovered with surprising agility. She recognized something then. While he lacked the raw physical power known among her people, his body showed remarkable balance and adaptability. His timing carried an instinctive quality that fascinated her. The crowd grew restless. Many shouted encouragement to the princess. They wanted a decisive blow. Riala ignored them. Something deep within her demanded she discover the limits of this unexpected opponent. She advanced again. This time she aimed higher. Her strike was fast and aimed toward the side of his head, though controlled enough to avoid fatal harm. Dane ducked under her arm, pivoted, and placed himself at her flank. The moment he moved, she realized he had anticipated her pattern. She spun to face him. He did not strike. Instead, he stood with measured calm, and his stance suggested readiness born from long practice. The gong rang softly from a distant timer marking the 30-second point. The human had already surpassed expectations. Riala felt a surge of determination. She refused to let this encounter shift beyond her control. She dashed forward with a burst of speed. Dane barely avoided her. Her strike shook the ground. She followed with a second and third attack. Dane dodged one. He blocked another with his forearm and winced from the force. She saw the momentary pain on his face. She also saw that he endured without complaint. He shifted again, angling himself away from the center. His breathing grew heavier. His movements still held precision, but required more effort. Riala sensed his strain. She believed the match would soon conclude, yet he did not falter. With each exchange he read her movements more accurately. Each adjustment he made was subtle but effective. He was learning from her at rapid speed. The gong chimed again. 40 seconds. Whispers swept across the arena. Some spectators stared in disbelief. Others exchanged uncertain glances. The human was still standing. Riala circled him. Her steps slowed. Her eyes focused. She recognized that brute speed alone would not end the match. She needed strategy. She needed to push him into a mistake. With a controlled motion, she stepped forward, feigning an attack. Dane shifted to counter. In that brief shift, she changed her direction and launched a strike aimed at his shoulder. He parried with both hands. The force echoed through him. He slid back across the ground. For a moment, it looked like he would fall. She moved in to finish the match. Before her final strike could land, Dane twisted to the side. His hand brushed the ground for balance. He sprung up again. His renewed stance showed determination that refused to fade. Riala felt a strange surge of respect. She had challenged countless warriors. Few adapted like him. None maintained such composure under prolonged pressure. 50 seconds. Riala charged again. Her strikes became more deliberate. Each movement sought to corner him. Dane ducked, sidestepped, shifted weight, and blocked only when absolutely necessary. When she struck downward, he rolled away. When she swept her arm, he leapt back just enough to avoid the full force. His endurance amazed even himself. He had trained for moments of tension, but this was unlike anything in his experience. Yet something within him guided his movements. It was not instinct alone. It was the collective strength of his people, carried by countless generations of perseverance. Riala struck again. Dane moved in closer than before. For a heartbeat, they stood within arm's reach. He met her gaze. She saw no fear there. Only resolve. The gong echoed across the arena. 1 minute had passed. A hush fell over the spectators. Not a single voice spoke. Riala herself stood perfectly still. The realization washed over her in a silent wave. Her declaration at the start now hung in the air with unexpected weight. She stepped back. Her breath grew heavier from the effort she had used. She looked at the human who had survived every challenge she sent his way. Her pride had been tested. Her skill had been measured. She did not feel anger. She felt something far rarer: admiration. Dane lowered his hands. He waited for her decision. The crowd whispered again. They expected the match to continue. They believed she would finish the fight now that the minute had passed. They expected triumph. Instead, Riala raised her hand and signaled the end. Gasps spread through the arena. She approached Dane and studied him for a long moment. Her voice carried the weight of genuine respect. You stood where many stronger rivals fell. Strength is more than force. You have shown that clearly. Dane nodded. Thank you. I did only what I could. Riala stepped aside and gestured toward the arena exit. You have earned my respect. Your people will be welcomed for further discussions. The diplomatic leaders in the stands exchanged stunned looks. This result was far outside their predictions. Yet the princess had spoken. Her judgment carried unquestioned authority. As Dane walked toward the gate, he glanced back once. Riala stood with her head high. A subtle expression touched her features. It was not defeat. It